graphic nature of this program, listener discretion is advised.
Come on, that's a bunch of horse shit. Endo Calrissian was a black guy, you know. He got to fly the Millennium Falcon. What's the matter with you?
Who said that?
I did. Lando Calrissian is a positive role model in the realm of science fiction fantasy.
Fuck Lando Calrissian, Uncle Tom, nigga. Always some white boy gotta invoke the Holy Trilogy. Bust this. Those movies are about how the white man keeps the brother man down, even in a galaxy far, far away. Check this shit. You got cracker farm boy Luke Skywalker, Nazi poster boy, blonde hair, blue eyes. And then you got Darth Vader, the blackest brother in the galaxy, Nubian god.
What's a Nubian?
Shut the fuck up. Now, Vader, he's a spiritual brother, you know, down with the Force and all that good shit. Then there's Cracker, Skywalker, gets his hands on a lightsaber, and the boy decides he's gonna run the fucking universe. Gets a whole clan of whites together. And they gonna bust up Vader's hood, the Death Star. Now what the fuck do you call that?
Intergalactic Civil War?
Gentrification! They gonna drive out the black element to make the galaxy quote unquote safe for white folks. And Jedi's the most insulting installment because Vader's beautiful black visage is sullied when he pulls off his mask to reveal a feeble, crusty old white man. They trying to tell us that deep inside we all wants to be white.
Well, isn't that true?
It's just a coincidence that you were talking about the Jack and Triumph show, and I'm here. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast.
Hey man, this is Kevin Smith. Guy makes all those unlistenable podcasts over at smodcast.com, and you're listening to the Two Strangers One podcast. This is podcasting.
You're listening to Two Strangers One Podcast. Subscribe to us on iTunes or on the Stitcher app for Android devices. Please visit twostrangersonepodcast.net. Now, here's Chris Cologne and Paul Pasquillo.
Well, hello and welcome to Two Strangers One Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
And happy 2016, people. Apparently, I forgot what year it was. I almost said 2014. Actually, I did say 2014 the first time we recorded.
And welcome to Take Two.
Take Two. Take Two. It's been 2 weeks, 3 weeks in between recordings. Unfortunately, the holidays get in the way in between, and Christmas and New Year's. And Paul having violent, concentrated evil diarrhea,
not violent,
shooting out of him at high velocity speeds. No,
it wasn't that bad.
What a way to start off 2006. Well, it has to be. If you're shitting that bad that you can't even record, actually, that probably would have helped the podcast. Just
wait. No, if I can't perform sex on my fiance, then there's a problem.
Wow. Okay.
Let's put it that way.
We just set up the microphone in the actual bathroom or whatever, and I'll just sit just outside, talk to you, the gas mask on.
It was bad.
It was because I guess this time of year at your job you're dealing there's you have a high concentration of people. It's that time of year where people at least it was that time of year.
Literally, and we're going to talk about Force Awakens at the second half.
The second half of the show, we will. Now, just giving you a heads up right now, we are having a spoiler-filled episode. Last episode, I said spoiler-free because we didn't even see the movie yet. But God damn it, we are going to talk fucking spoilers. Mm-hmm. But Paul's going to get back to why he almost died.
Dude, I am still exhausted from Force Awakens. We had at least 2,500 to 3,000 people walking the door every single day while kids were off of school and the holidays. It was just, oh my God, I wanted to murder myself.
It's Disney already making their money back, man. They said,
by the time this podcast comes out, it should surpass Avatar's record. So
right now, are they saying $1 billion? Is billion? Is billion a proper
just passed,
number?
As of right now, it just passed Avengers.
So think about it. They paid $4 billion for the entire franchise. And we're not going to get into super duper sport. We're not going to get into the movie just yet, but I think it's safe to say that this movie has set up Episode 8. You can't. This movie leaves you wanting to go see Episode 8. And we're not going to get into it, but I'm just saying is that
we'll get into it later.
That between that and then you got the Rogue One movie right around the corner, then you got Episode 8. So they've already made back 1/4 of their money.
Let me just say this, okay?
Not to mention international.
I work in the movie theater industry, and I can tell you right now, Disney pretty much has saved the movie theater industry for the next couple of years. Seriously, between this and fucking what is it? Avengers. And,
yeah, all the Marvel movies and Infinity War.
The Marvel movies that Disney has.
yeah. Deadpool's going to do very well. We'll save that for the second half. And actually,
that'd be kind of funny. Can we have the rights back to Deadpool? No.
Yeah. And it's and we'll save that for the second part of the show where. Before we actually started recording this, you'll see where Paul and I were watching trailers for this movie called BFG, a movie by Disney.
You'll listen to it.
You could listen to us, listen to the trailers for BFG, which is a movie directed by Steven Spielberg and put out by Disney. This movie called Whiskey Tango Foxtrot with Tina Fey, and then finally the one that I really wanted to see, Deadpool. So you'll catch that in the second half of the show. So you've been dealing with a whole lot of people. It is cold season. Kids were off from school for like more than a week, and just everyone and their mother went to go see the theater. Now I'm gonna use that to kind of veer into my cray chicks. For the beginning part of the show, I kind of like that. And once again, I have tons of fucking stories for cray chicks. I just don't want to blow my load all in one episode. So okay, as the kitty jumps up on the table. So all right, and once again, this doesn't really have to do with Force Awakens just yet, but it does. All right. So as I mentioned last episode, I had purchased 2 tickets for the movie. I said, all right, my initial plan was I'm going to use it to get a date. Some chick out there has to want to see The Force Awakens, the night it comes out. And I bought the tickets like 2 weeks in advance. Couldn't find a date. Could not find a date to save my life. Even my coworker, I'm kind of pissed off because he kind of backed out on me. I thought he'd like save me and like, okay, we'll go together. And then like that night, I'm gonna go see my family and I got shit. And I'm like, oh, fuck you then. So luckily I was able to refund the ticket.
You're welcome.
And so, but thank you, because you showed me how to, not showed me how to do it, but you said, you can refund that ticket. So I actually got my $11 back. And so he had said, okay, no. Now, what had happened was I was getting desperate. I was getting so fucking desperate for a date. So I hopped back on my dating website, the dating app that I use, and I contacted this girl that I was speaking to an earlier part of last year. And not last year, because last year is 2015. An earlier part of 2014. Now, this was a woman, that that I was talking to, and we had spoken back and forth between, online and text for about 2 to 3 weeks. And then I even spoke to her while she went with her sisters. She went with her nieces, to some sort of trip out in Cleveland or something like that. And so I go, now mind you, when the time came for the actual date, she stood me up. I went to the date and I'm like, what the fuck? And then I had contacted her and she had said that she felt that so many, and this is the cray chick section. This is the definition of cray. She didn't show up to the date because she thought that she was going to get stood up.
That's bullshit.
And now, mind you, I had sent a text to her earlier that day because I think the plan was that if the weather was bad, because she was going to go to her niece's thing. And once again, now mind you, her nieces live about an hour outside Rochester. She lives in Rochester, so she goes out of her way. And don't be wrong, good family connection is a good thing. But so the day we were supposed to have a date, it was supposed to be okay. If the weather is bad, which was as it was expected to be, and her niece's baseball game was canceled, she would come out. So I was actually hoping for bad weather. Bad weather happened, and I said, okay, I'll see you at 6. Then I get there, and nothing. I even texted her that night, no response. So I was like, oh, shit. And then we eventually hooked up. Not hooked up, but I still haven't met her yet. And so I said, I thought you were going to stand me up, so I didn't go to the date. Even though I texted her at the place, like, yo, where are you? So I was getting desperate. So I said, okay, for The Force Awakens, let me contact this chick or whatever. And maybe it would be a weird first date or whatever. Even though it's been like a year and a half since I spoke to her. Oh, you want to go see? Hi, this is Chris. Remember we spoke about it a year and a half ago? And you want to go? Oh, I'm going to my niece's recital that Thursday.
Dude, it's an excuse.
And I said, oh, and you know what? Like, maybe I dodged a bullet. I don't know. But my thing is that because I do see her profile on the dating app, so I would assume it means you haven't met. If you met somebody, you would take your profile off. I mean, you can either forget it, but I'm assuming like
there are some. I'll be honest with you. There are some girls that, and I experienced this when I was on. I don't know if it's Plenty of Fish or whatever it is, but there was one girl where I was talking to her, and we had a good conversation going. I was like, yeah, we should meet up. She's like, I don't know. I really don't meet up with people. And I'm sitting there going, then why the fuck are you on a dating site? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like, I understand you want to talk to people and meet new people online, but you can't live your life through fucking online. You should be able to be like, hey, I'm going to go out and do stuff with people. And you know what I do? I always make people, on the first date, I always make sure I meet in a public place with somebody, because that way they feel comfortable and I feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Because I don't know who the fuck you are. You could come up to the fucking date with a goddamn katana in your fucking bag. Like, I'm gonna fucking cut you or something. Like, I need witnesses.
Yeah.
I need witnesses in case I get stabbed. So,
some accusation the next day.
Yeah, I know. Like, so
you try to molest me, you try to rape me, or some shit.
I'm like, actually, I got some video for you, but thank you. So, I get what you're saying. I don't understand. Like, some women are very, very timid. They will not, like, do anything. They'll be like, oh yeah, I really like you. I like the conversation, blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, I got this going on, or I got this going on. It's basically excuses so they don't have to do something.
Yeah, and I think if you had an opportunity for a date, like, once again, being a guy on the dating site, you're always making the first move. I think I've had maybe one girl contact me.
You got to understand
to make
something.
The first move.
Most women, I would say about 70 to 75% of women do not initiate anything. Also, and they're very timid. They will not do anything. Like, they're very, like,
passive.
Yeah, they're very passive, and you have to, like, literally, like, pull them out of their shell to get them to come out on a date with you. They're the kinds of girls that, like, like the ex that I dated before Kelsea, that would just, like, if you don't want to date me, just say so. Just be like, look, I really think you're a great guy. I really, I've been having a great time with you, but I like somebody else. Yeah. Like, just be honest and upfront, instead of being, like, all fucking, like, shady and shit. Like, that's just, look, if you're upfront and honest with a guy, we're not gonna fucking be pissed. Look, okay, yes, we're gonna be annoyed with you, obviously, but I mean, I'm not gonna be pissed if you say to me, "Hey, look, I'm not interested." I'm like, I think you're making I don't think you're making a great, I think you're making a mistake, but I appreciate you.
Thanks for not wasting my time.
Exactly.
And it's like it takes a lot of fucking, it takes a lot of. You do. I mean, some guys, they ask everything without a dick out. You know what I'm saying? There are guys like that. And they're just, it's law of averages. And if you ask 100 girls out and you get to fuck one, okay, at least you get to fuck one.
Not every fucking guy has their dick out on a profile going, "Hey, hi, how are you? Can I fuck you right now?"
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Is it takes a lot. Like, I'm not just gonna ask anybody out. So I mean, okay, in this situation, I was a little desperate. But
why do you think I'm engaged? I don't want to fucking deal with this shit anymore. Plus, I got the perfect wife upstairs. What the fuck do I need?
Yeah. So thanks to Chris Mounts for giving us this cray chicks. There's another thing that's sort of cray, but not really. This is more just annoying than actually cray. Okay, so the girl that I was seeing a couple of months ago, and I've talked about on the show, started following me on Twitter. And I'm like, okay. Now, obviously, when we were seeing each other, we were Facebook friends. But, obviously, after our little tiff or whatever, we broke up. And then she followed me on Twitter. So I'm like, all right, And this is, okay, I don't know if this is just me just being an asshole or whatever. But I said, I texted her. I sent her a message on Twitter. I said, because mind you, my phone number has changed since we were dating. Because I'm having financial problems. So I got a cheaper phone and everything, like a cheaper service. So I'm assuming, maybe she wants the sausage, So I say, oh, I see that you followed me on Twitter. I said, are you looking for a booty call? Just sort of being playful, sort of, like if you, because why? How do you accidentally follow someone on Twitter? You know what I'm saying? The only time something like that happens is if, like, you have a brand new profile and they say, okay, here, add 10 people, like
right.
So that's the only thing I could think of. And then, then she writes back. Now, of course, you can't read the tone of someone's talking in text form, but it basically said, "Oh no, if it happened, it was by accident, and I don't need any help when it comes to booty calls or whatever." So fuck you, yeah. So not really. That's not really a cray situation. Just more just irritating.
Women like to do that kind of thing. They
but
like to fuck with your mind.
But don't automatically friend somebody because okay, I know sometimes Twitter does kind of keep your info like you want us to add all your Facebook friends, you want us to add all your phone contacts or something.
Trust me. There are stories that I could tell you that would make your head spin involving somebody that's involved in my life, unfortunately. But I'm not going to talk. I don't talk about that on the podcast. So a lot of things have been happening. Okay, do you want to make it more? I want to talk about personal shit, and then we can kind of go into the global shit. Not global, but talk about your little situation.
So now I haven't really posted about this on Facebook because I didn't know where it was going to go. And I still kind of, everything is still up in the air. I mean, as everybody knows, I am fucking so frustrated with my job and where, the store that I work at. And, I was promised to transfer to another nicer store, but then, shit happened and then the transfer fell through. And then I was offered another transfer to another store. Then shit happened. So, okay, a little over a week ago, this guy comes into the store. Now, what happens is where I work, we have a very, very decent video recording system where it's Windows based and it's very, very easy to save pictures and to save video clips for what I'm about to get into. So what happens is when we have guys that we have known that are known thieves, we've seen them steal and stuff like that. And there are a lot of people who are very, very brazen. Where I work, it's a very bad neighborhood and people don't give a fuck. So I do my best to get a picture of the person. And then, where I work, we actually have a photo printing booth or whatever. So you can print the photo right from a USB drive. And I print the photo out. And we kind of have what I refer to as the wall of shame. And it's sort of like when people come in to steal, here's their picture. So the cashiers and people who work there get a good idea on who this person is. This guy already had 2 pictures on the wall. Okay, and so and we've had people who come back, because thieves, once you can get away with it, you're gonna come back. So this guy, I have 2 pictures of him. He comes back now. This is his 3rd time. Now usually he comes more towards the end of the night when I'm a little busy and the cashier's by herself.
Right.
And I hope I'm not giving ideas to anybody else. But he comes in. He doesn't realize that I'm there, and I see him take the razor. He's stealing disposable razors. So I go, hey, don't fucking do that. He goes because he goes behind this little space in between the aisles and he's crouching down trying to put stuff in the bag. I snatched the stuff out of his hand. I said, get the fuck out of here. So then, now mind you, okay, I've seen him in the past. I've caught him stealing. I've even caught him stealing now. I said, get the fuck out of here. He starts walking towards the door. Then this fucking guy, now mind you, when this first happened, when I saw him grab the stuff, I told my cashier, call 911.
Right. So
you would think, okay, you got caught. I mean, well, you got stopped. Fucking call it a day. You know what I'm saying? Call it, chalk it up as a loss and fucking keep him. Now, mind you, he still had stuff on him.
Yeah.
I grabbed what I could from him. Long story short, in this situation, he had stolen 4 packages. I had taken 2 out of his hand. So then he walks back into the store. So he's walking towards the door, and I'm assuming the way I see it now in hindsight, I think he was walking towards the door just to kind of get me off his back. Then he decided to turn back. I'm like, there's someone's walking right behind you. Where the fuck are you gonna go? So he starts walking to the store, and so I had said, all right, you know what? The cops are on their way. Like that scene we had mentioned the movie Bronx Tale a couple episodes back, where the bikers come into the mafioso bar. And they keep asking the bikers to leave, and then the mafiosos go, okay, now you can't leave. They lock the door. So since I know the cops are on their way, I go to lock the door of the store. Unfortunately, I'm too busy wrestling with this stupid fucking door, the ones that automatically open when you walk to them. So as I'm struggling with the door, the guy comes in. I kind of like shove him nuts. So, I kind of use my body as a force to like kind of not to let him escape or leave, because I know the cops are on their way. Because I know he still has stuff on him. So then, wouldn't you know, the guy fucking throws a fucking wild fucking roundhouse fucking sucker punch. And I was more surprised. It didn't hurt. I was just more surprised than anything else. Well, okay, I mean, don't be wrong. It broke the skin on my lip. It broke, my neck hurt. My fucking head hurt. Teeth hurt. And so, and like I said, you're just more shocked than anything. And maybe it's just also the adrenaline pumping. But, the guy punched me in the face. And then, I was so shocked that then he got by me. So luckily, the cops are on their way. They go to arrest this cocksucker. And the guy, according to the police report, actually says the guy took a defensive stance or whatever. Because when I was there, because they asked me to come to the police station, or what they call in Rochester here, they call the public safety building. I'm actually in the public safety building. Now the cops tell me that they had this guy handcuffed in a room, and that when they came back to the room, he had pissed all over himself. So, good riddance to fucking bad rubbish. They had asked me if I wanted to come back as a... not asked me. The DA, the district attorney, had called my store, because that's the contact information they had. And I was actually supposed to go and testify with what they call a grand jury, like for felony charges, because between assault and fucking... And then during the struggle, our sensor, our the anti-theft sensor thing that beeps when people leave, that got damaged. And so... that's well over $1,000 or whatever. So they were trying to hit him up with felony charges. So
he's already got assault charges because he hit you.
He got assault charges, felony theft or whatever. I don't. I should know the penal law, but I'm not about to give it too much thought right now. So then, so I talked to the district manager and I sent him an email. I'm like, look, you got to get me the fuck out of this store. You know what I'm saying? I'm tired of this bullshit. I'm tired. Please transfer me out of the store, as I asked you fucking a year ago, as I asked you in June, as I asked you in September. So then he goes, now it just so happens that I was working a shift at another store. I was scheduled to work a shift in another store that, just trying to get some overtime money. Just every couple of dollars, every penny helps. So then I go, and so he goes, look, the store that you're going to work in that night actually needs somebody. So he goes, why don't you work there and give it a shot, and we'll see how things work out. And hopefully, if I see you want to transfer out of this store, maybe we can send you to that store. So I'm working the store. It's overnight shift. It's 9:30 to 6 o'clock in the morning. At 1:15 in the morning, someone shoots the fucking window. Somebody shoots at the store. Now, mind you, when I say shoot at the store, it was apparently, because they believed it was a white sedan. They thought it was a like air powered, BB gun, pellet gun. Right. Because it had taken out both windows. It took out two windows, but not shattered it. But then again, it was kind of like safety, shatter-resistant glass, or whatever you want to call it. Not shatter-resistant, break-resistant glass. So it made, the wonderful spiderweb patterns. But they shot two windows from a moving car, And luckily, I happened to be talking, me and the overnight manager, because I'm a supervisor, I'm not a manager. We were talking to a customer when this happened. Had we not talked to the customer, he probably would have gotten hit by that pellet, because or whatever, those two pellets, because he was about to walk out the door, but he was just sort of some people just stop and shoot the shit with the cashiers and whatever. And I think he knows the overnight manager, so he was there talking friendly. Had he left the store 30 seconds earlier, he probably would have gotten hit with the fuck. And if that thing is strong enough to fucking break double paned insulated glass from a moving car, you know what I'm saying? And it broke both panes in one and only one pane on the other. That shit would have fucking done some damage on a person. Yeah. So, so it was probably CO2 powered. So when I'm supposed to transfer to this quote unquote safer store, there's a drive-by, for the lack of a better term, a fucking drive-by shooting at that store. So I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do.
It's probably better during the day, honestly. And that's that's what you got to find out, is if you're working day or if you're working overnight.
Yeah, if it's overnights, I knew I was going to see drunk assholes, because that particular store is down the block from 3 or 4 bars. Yeah. If you drive through that area on a Friday or Saturday night, there are fucking constant police there. That's when we called the cops. They were there in 2 seconds, because fucking right there. Because the cops are you got a lot of Rochester's a college town. You got a lot of college students, and when people want to quote unquote go into the city, that's the main strip where people fucking go into the city. You know what I'm saying? It's a metropolitan part of town. It's not a bad neighborhood, for the lack of better. It's actually kind of it's kind of an artsy area, but you do got a lot. You got bums in the street during the day and junkies and
you got to remember too, right where you were, right across the street from you. If I'm correct, there used to be a Blockbuster, so people used to go there all the time too. Now there's no fucking video stores downtown. Yeah, there's nothing. And it's not the best area either, because I remember being at that Blockbuster, seeing someone steal. Because it was a guy running out the door, and it was stuff that was tagged, it beeped when he ran out the door, but he was, he had added, he'll break the boxes, the boxes later or whatever.
like it beeped, but yeah, it beeped as he's fucking bolting out the door as fast as he possibly could. So, speaking of air guns and toy guns, that can kind of veer off into, and it's kind of, and I can't make this shit up. If you think I'm telling a fucking bullshit story, I will fucking personally text you the picture of the shattered fucking glass. And this happened on... It was
on the news, I think, too, if I remember correctly.
No, from my store?
Not from your store. Like, there was something going on. It was on social media.
Yeah, that night, and that's what happened was that night, the cops had told us that there were people driving in a car. And now I had heard they were shooting paintball guns at people. Right. So apparently whoever was in his car, they didn't have like actual firearms, for the lack of a better term, technical firearms. But these are things that shoot fucking projectiles. And if you're getting hit with a fucking paintball without being prepared to get hit with a fucking paintball, you know what I'm saying? Like, you see people get fucking black and blues and shit like that. So there was some sort of mischief going on that night, or people were shooting from a fucking moving vehicle.
So let's get into that.
So speaking of people with toy guns, now I'm gonna let you speak on this, because I'm gonna step back, because I will fully admit that I don't know the full story. All I know is that it was a kid with a toy gun that was killed by... It was a black kid killed with a toy gun by cops.
Right. And then the cops...
That's all I know.
So what happened, it was about a week ago. It's been about a week. Tamir Rice, who was the kid that was killed, the cops were... The grand jury was convened, and the grand jury decided not to indict. And for me... First of all, I kind of have to... I come on this podcast and I say things, and I think people, because of how what's the word I'm looking for? How escalated it seems to be out there with all these, Black Lives Matter and all these other movements, for African Americans and everything like that. I think people seem to not realize that there are white people like me out there that have been raised to see people not by race, but just as people. Mm-hmm. And that's how I see people. I don't care. I see a black person, they're just a person to me. Mm-hmm. They're not some, they're not like, some foreign object, or I don't
automatically jump to fucking, that person's a criminal, low life scumbag.
Exactly. I don't jump to that conclusion. I mean, don't get me wrong, if they're dressed a certain way, and this goes for fucking white trash too.
Exactly.
If they're dressed a way, I'm gonna sit there and automatically go, "Oh, that's a scumbag."
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say that they're a criminal, but they're probably a scumbag.
Yeah. There's, without getting into specifics, there are people that you could look at and go, "Oh, that person's a fucking lowlife."
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Or the way that they're acting,
or at the very least, let's just say, just not to cut you off. Even if you want to give them the benefit of the doubt, okay, you know what? Maybe you're not a lowlife piece of shit, but you are dressed like okay. When people come into my store to steal, they look a certain way.
Right.
So when I see someone who looks like that,
that's when
fine. You may not be a person. You may not be a piece of shit, but you are dressed like the 10 pieces of shit I just fucking dealt with. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're wearing the piece of shit uniform. Like Chris Rock had that joke. Like, I can't. Like Chris Rock says, I can't walk around with a police uniform and not being a cop. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he goes to my girls that dress up like sluts or whatever. He goes, you're wearing the slut uniform. I'm not wearing. So you are wearing the low life uniform. Now, once again, there are plenty of good people who fucking work and do what they got to do, and unfortunately maybe they don't have the best jobs, the best paying job. I'm one of them, trust me. I'm fucking one of them, who unfortunately have to live in low income areas. But low income does not have to mean high crime. But
there are people that are probably in the city of Rochester right now that live in a house that they don't want to live in, but they have a great job. And it sucks, but it is what it is. You do what you got to do for your family. Mm-hmm. But getting back to what I was saying. So, I don't know about you, Chris. Mm-hmm. I have a boy. Uh-huh. Tamir Rice was 12 years old when he got shot. Mm-hmm. I don't know about you, but as a parent, it pisses me off when I hear that a kid was out in the middle of a park with waving a gun around, a pellet gun that looks like a real gun, and the mother, wherever the mother was at the time, whether she was working or she was just like, "Oh, I'll go out and play in the park." How do you let your child go out there? If I will personally say this: if I saw my son with a pellet gun in his hand, I would beat his ass right there in the middle of the fucking parking lot and get your fucking ass in the house.
Yeah, I mean, look, 12 years old, it's very easy. When you're 12, you're at that age where you're pushing the limits, you're pushing the boundaries.
Exactly.
You want to see how far you can get. But, let's not, there is some culpability on the parent side where, the parent, you have to, first and foremost, you have to raise your child to fucking have a better sense of fucking right and wrong. So even if the opportunity for them to get their hands on a fucking toy gun, they'd go, you know what? No, fuck that.
And here's another thing that pisses me off about that. I'm trying to make this point, and I have people that rightfully so grew up in an environment down south that, is racist, very racist, and I do not disagree with that. There are white people down there that are fucking racist, and they should go to fucking hell. Matter of fact, if the gas chambers were around, I'd probably personally walk them into the gas chambers and gas them myself. They're so fucking racist, and it's ridiculous. Okay, but that gives you no right to sit there and attack me and try to justify this. This wasn't justified. This kid shouldn't have been killed, and fuck it, I'm gonna call Jody out on this. Fuck you, Jody. Fuck you. I'm getting sick and tired of, he was a 12-year-old boy, so he shouldn't be blamed. The fucking kid took a goddamn pellet gun out in the middle of a park and was waving it around and pointing it at people. Pointing it at people to where somebody called 911. That was, look, I'm not saying that the kid should have been shot, but fuck you. This kid caused the cops to come, okay? And had his mother fucking been a goddamn good parent, like she should have fucking been, because I hate these piece of shit parents that allow this shit to happen. If she wouldn't have let this kid, if she would have been diligent and observant and making sure that her kid didn't have a fucking pellet gun in the first place, none of this would have happened. Don't give me this bullshit about, he was black. They approached the scene. The kid, it shows in an FBI enhanced video. It's on fucking line. If you don't believe me, it's on fucking line. An FBI fucking enhanced video shows him as the cops pull up, reaching into his waist for that gun. Do you think if you're a cop pulling up on the scene, what are you gonna do? You're gonna open that door and fucking shoot him.
Yeah, and most BB guns look real.
Exactly.
For whatever reason, it's like they make water guns. You can't find a realistic looking water gun. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't. They'll come in fucking fluorescent green, even though technically you can't have a Glock that is fluorescent green.
Right.
A Glock is made out of plastic. What I'm saying is, I don't know why in this day and age are BB guns made to look like real guns. You know what I'm saying? Make it fucking shiny silver. Make it fucking fluorescent green.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, there should be no toy guns that look fucking real anymore.
Yeah, that's it's like, why are BB guns still made? And okay, you want to use a BB gun for practice, and okay, fine, you can use it for practice, but you're using a fluorescent green practice toy gun. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and let me
there's no need for it to be black or steel or gray or gun ray. Was it gun steel gray or whatever the fuck they call it? There's no reason for it to be that color.
Yeah, and you know what? Look. There should be no. This is the first instance with all this stuff that's been going on with police brutality and whatnot. This is the first one that I can honestly tell you, Chris, and I can look somebody straight in the eye and say this and not fucking lose a piece of sleep of, that was justified. It was justified. Now, here's my problem, and it's been my problem all along. You hear the tapes of the 911 call. They call 911. The person calls 911 and says, there's a kid in the park with a gun. He's waving it and pointing it at people. That being said, I think it might be a toy gun. When the dispatcher calls the police, that information is not relayed to them. So when they roll up on the scene, they don't know that. They're rolling up thinking that this kid might actually have a real gun. And I honestly, I'm guessing that person that was the dispatcher at that time is fired. But why isn't this person up on charges? You know what I mean? Where in the right frame of mind is this person not on fucking charges? And by the way, don't fucking argue with me over that. That person fucked up. And because of that, a young man is dead. Now, that young man did play a part in that. You shouldn't be reaching. The minute I see a police officer, and fucking lawyers tell you this all the time. We've heard them all online every single time. A police officer pulls up, you put your hands in the air immediately. You put your hands, you listen to the officer, you do what the officer says. Sue them later. Do what the officer says. If you get arrested, you get arrested. Whatever. Do what the officer says. This kid didn't. This kid clearly did not. I'm not surprised that the grand jury didn't come back. And I don't see a civil lawsuit getting won here. The police officers were justified in what they did. Unfortunately, this kid should not have been out there playing with a pellet gun that looks like a fucking real gun. And had the parent been a real fucking parent, it wouldn't have happened.
Now, let me just put it like this. Okay, look, life isn't fair.
No.
Life isn't fair. If you are and I'm trying to make a point, but I'm going to use myself as an example. I'm the father of a young girl. I have to teach her that she can't trust everybody. Mm-hmm. She has to be wary of her environment. She has to be wary of what she does. That being said, why? Because there are people out there who may want to hurt her just for the fact that she's a girl. It's not fucking fair. It's a shame. It's a shame that I can't just let my daughter go to the park. Of course, okay, no, she's 5, but I'm just saying, when she gets a little older, I can't just let her go to the park because there are bad people out there who will do bad things to you.
Right. You can't let them go on the fucking computer without worrying that some fucking predator is on there going, hey, I'm a 12-year-old guy, let's meet up. And then, it's really like a 40-year-old person trying to snatch up your little girl.
Now, is it so far out of the realm of possibility to even say, you know what? You have to be careful around cops. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not trying to say, I'm not saying don't trust cops. I'm saying is, if I had a son, like my ex-wife was black, okay? So if me and my ex-wife had a kid together, my kid would have some sort of color to him. And let's say I had a young boy, I would say, look, you have to understand, cops. Let's just take this little grain of salt. Cops are racist. Let's just say that. And I'm not saying that, but let's just say, look, when someone comes up on the scene and a cop, they may be racist. And you have to listen to the cop, and you have to put your hands in the air, and you have to fucking comply. And the same way, you don't want to teach. You have to teach your kid. You know what? Don't wear a gold chain. Don't wear a necklace when you're walking into a bad neighborhood. Don't wear flashy clothes and have a nice cell phone and pull it out if you're in a bad neighborhood. Right. Well, don't pull out a gun when you're in a park. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. There are people out there who may hurt you on purpose or by accident. Don't tempt fate. And if you haven't imparted on your kid that playing with a gun, playing with a lighter, playing with a knife, there are things out there that can hurt your child. And first, maybe it's just me. I was lucky enough that my father had weapons in the house. I have a healthy respect for guns. My father made it an important lesson to teach me to respect weapons. And this is a powerful tool that you cannot abuse this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I forgot exactly how my father worded it, but you have to respect the fucking weapon. And my father taught me, and as my daughter gets a little older, I want to teach her a healthy respect of weapons. It's not a fucking toy. No. Luckily it's as a girl, she doesn't have interest in guns, but you don't point your finger at somebody and say bang. Even when you do play with a toy gun, you don't point it at somebody. Those are little lessons that she knows now. But, I want her to understand, and I need to teach her the way my father taught me, that guns aren't something you fuck around with. And all parents need to teach their kids guns the same way boiling water isn't something to fuck around with. Exactly. Lighters aren't something to fuck with. Knives aren't something to fuck with. You have to teach your kids that there are fucking bad things out there that can hurt you, and if taken the wrong way, people will hurt you because you can't wear that jewelry outside if you're going to that neighborhood. You can't bring your cell phone.
I want to finish this conversation by saying this, and I think we'll probably go to commercial after this. But one thing that really annoys me about people, and it annoys me, not to be racial, but it does annoy me about black people, is that an incident like this happens and we automatically go to race. Listen to me. Listen, I am a white person that thinks of everybody as a person, not as a black person, not as an Asian, not as Latino, just as a person. I think we're all Americans. That's the way I was raised. I live here in New York State. I don't live in a racist state that takes away fucking your ability to go and get your fucking license. Sorry, Darrell, but your state sucks. And we both agree on that. But honestly, the number one thing that I've been really getting pissed off about lately, and I understand I've never been in that situation as a white man, but automatically my friends, some of my black friends, go to this racial thing. Oh, well, you don't know what we've had to deal with. You're right. I don't know what you've dealt with. And I'm not privy to that. But I'm going to tell you right now, as a white person that lives in New York State, that doesn't see as much doesn't see any racism whatsoever. If there's 5 cops beating some black guy, it's because he's mental and they're trying to drag him out of the street because he's blocking traffic and he almost got himself killed by 5 cars. Mm-hmm. That happened about a month or 2 ago. Mm-hmm. People were like, oh wait, it's justified. I mean, you guys need to give credit where credit is, because I feel like black people forget that there are, sorry, but I'm gonna have to use my race in this, white people that are actually good people, that actually don't think in terms of racism. Yeah. You know?
Not every cop is out there to kill somebody.
Right.
The same way not every black person is a criminal. Not every cop is out there to fucking put, you know, some mother's child
to
on
my
the ground.
friends out there, and this includes Jody Schaefer that keeps saying to me, oh, the 12-year-old, whatever. You need to keep in mind here that I don't think about people based on race. I look at the situation from my perspective. From my perspective, if my kid was out there with a gun, first of all, he wouldn't be out there with a gun. Second of all, if I saw him with a pellet gun, his ass would get beat and he'd be ground because he's not allowed to have any guns, even if it's a toy gun. If his mother did that, I would fucking go up one side of her and down the other. There's no reason why my son should be out in the middle of a neighborhood with a goddamn gun. You know, it is what it is. And it's not going to happen because I'm not going to deal with it. You know, I'm not going to get a phone call at 3 o'clock in the morning. Well, not 3 o'clock in the morning, but 3 o'clock in the afternoon that my kid's dead because his dumbass mother let him play with a pellet gun out in the middle of a neighborhood. No, that's not going to happen. You know, and as a good parent, I will not let that fucking happen. You know, and that's my point here. This lady was a fucking terrible parent. I don't know her personally. You know, maybe this kid did go out and, you know, was hiding the gun and deciding when he went out to play that he was going to take this gun out with him. Okay, I'll give you that. But at the same time, as a good parent, you would be very observant and you would be looking all over. You'd be on that social media. You'd be on that fucking, in that bedroom looking for stuff. Because you know what? Unfortunately, our kids lie these days. You know, and they don't want to tell us certain things and we have to go digging. And unfortunately, you got to be a good parent and you got to do what you got to do. Because at the end of the day, you could be out without a son or a daughter because you decided, you know what? I'm going to let them have their personal space. You know? And you know what? I'm sorry, Jody, but you're wrong. This kid did kind of cause his death. He shouldn't have had that gun. He shouldn't have reached for the gun, and he shouldn't have been pointing it at people. That's the point.
And who puts the gun in their waistband? Like,
exactly.
I
mean, am I wrong here, Chris? Jody's completely wrong in this situation?
Well, my thing is that like this kid obviously has gotten some bad fucking guidance in his life, and unfortunately that has led to his death. You know, and you know it's a tragedy and everything like that. But you know you can't say, oh, let's fucking arrest the cops because the cops didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, and here
the kid didn't do anything. The kid did something incredibly stupid, not illegal. Actually, I guess no, pointing a gun is illegal. Pointing a gun at people is illegal, but you know,
pointing at an officer is illegal too.
Yeah, it's, you know, people as parents, you know, we have to. You know, I say as parents, me, because I take this personally because I don't want to think of someone hurting my daughter. You know, you have to kind of teach your children to fucking be wary of the world. It's not. This isn't fucking Mayberry, and this isn't fucking 50 years ago. You know, shit is real. There are 12-year-olds out there with genuine guns. Unfortunately, and the cops have to the cops have to react in a way that, you know, and I hate to say it, when it, you know, there's that kind of, there's that saying, you know, if it comes down to me or you, it's going to be me. You know what I'm saying? You know, it comes down, you know, and if you have to teach your children, no, I don't know if we should end this story right now. I don't know if you want to talk about the terrorist thing that's been going on here.
No, I don't even think it's worth it, honestly, because, you know, it's kind of stupid.
Yeah, there was basically a fucking homeless guy that was not a homeless guy, but a panhandler.
Oh him. Yeah. I honestly think he got coerced, but I think it's just
it was the guy was a fucking piece of shit that kind of got.
He's got mental issues.
Who swore his allegiance to ISIS. They felt that the FBI was sort of entrapping him by like having him talk to, you know, people, and, you know, he thought he was talking to people in ISIS, and actually
I think he got entrapped.
And they're saying that, yeah, that's the whole thing. It's a fine line between entrapment and like kind of what this guy did. I mean, this guy swore allegiance, but then again, this was a fucking cuckoo panhandler, low-life piece of shit who, because of his actions, fucking like Rochester got shut down on fucking New Year's Eve. We didn't have our fireworks, our traditional fireworks.
A lot of people stayed home.
You know, it didn't bring any. There was no real ISIS activity here in Rochester, but
no.
You know, but once again, this guy's a fucking nut and needs to be fucking put in a fucking mental institution for the rest of his fucking life. And then they go, and then I just kind of want to touch on this real quick. They're like, oh, well, you know, he became a Muslim in jail. Well, you know what? In New York State, Muslims are the largest organization of people. And that's just a fucking fact. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not going to use the word gang because I'm not saying that they're a gang. Because a true Muslim is a true Muslim. True Muslim is a person that follows the faith or whatever. But when you're in jail and you need to survive, now New York State has a zero tolerance policy for gangs. I can tell you that right now. As a correction officer for New York State for 10 years, if you have any materials on you that kind of indicate blood or Crip or any kind of, I just use blood and Crip because those are the two ones that everyone knows. But if you have any kind of known gang activity, even like Bloods, like when they write, when Bloods, members of the Blood gang, write the letter C in a word, they write like an X to it because they hate the Crips so fucking much that they don't even use the letter C. You know what I'm saying? So if you happen to get a letter like that, like if you're, let's just say you're in jail and you're trying to do the right thing and one of your family member on the outside sends you a fucking letter that looks like gang related material or whatever, like you have to let the correction officers know about it, because if you get caught with that piece of paper, that means you are you are now a member of a gang, or you're going to be kept under the microscope being watched for gang activity. There's a zero tolerance policy for gangs. That being said, when you go to jail, you're going to want to join some organization of people that has some sort of, brotherhood, for the lack of a better term. And quite frankly, there are a lot of quote unquote fake ass Muslims in jail where these guys will quote unquote convert to Islam when they're in jail, because it's like joining a family. It's for the lack of a better term, and I hate to use this term, it's the biggest gang in the jail. You know what I'm saying? Without being a gang. I'm not saying Islam's a gang. Islam's a religion. But when you're in jail, sometimes to survive, you have to join groups that you may not necessarily agree with. And it's funny because you see these guys who quote unquote convert, but if the mess hall is serving fucking sausage, you know what I'm saying? And true Muslims don't drink alcohol and true Muslims don't smoke cigarettes. But you know what I'm saying? If they could get their hands on a fucking cigarette, they'll smoke it. If they get their hands on some fucking hooch, they're gonna fucking drink it. Right. So I just wanted to talk about, he became a Muslim in jail. Yeah, you become Muslim in jail because for all intents and purposes, it's the largest gang, at least in New York State. I can only speak for New York State. And then I just want to talk about real quick about this Omaha bullshit. I mean, I know we're going real far into it.
I think that's...
I'm not going to get into it too. All I'm saying is that people that are making this a race issue, look, it's not a race issue. It's a bunch of people who are fucking idiots, and the FBI needs to go into that building and kill all those motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? I'm not, when a bunch of white guys have guns, it's called a militia. When a bunch of black guys call it they're rioters and shit. Look, let's not make this a race issue. Those guys in Omaha are in the fucking wrong and need to be treated rightfully so. Oh, yeah. Hopefully any minute now we'll hear about the FBI fucking charging into that building and pulling a fucking Waco or whatever. I mean, I don't know, maybe Obama doesn't want to fucking have the negative press, but I'm just saying is I support the FBI in this situation, and I hope the FBI fucking handle this shit and get these idiots off the fucking out of a building, because you can't, that's not how you handle situations. You don't fucking take over a federal building. So with that, we'll be back with more dick and fart jokes.
This episode of Two Strangers, One Podcast is brought to you by Comics Etc. 1115 East Main and North Goodman at the Hungerford Building, door number 8. Find out more information at comicsetc.biz or like them on Facebook at facebook.com/comicsetc1.
Click and Hit, enhancing the experience for all recreational smokers. Click and Hit is a one-handed portable vaporizer. This smoking pipe has a compact 4-stage design, complete with a built-in, windproof, butane refillable torch lighter. The large burn chamber holds your stash of legal herb or pipe tobacco. Click the button to ignite and inhale as usual. When you are done, put it back in your pocket for later. Smoke anytime with the touch of a button. No more carrying around grinders and tins. Pipe, rolling papers, and even your lighter at home. The Click and Hit cordless vaporizer is no bigger than a normal cigar, making it the world's smallest and most discreet vaporizer. It's perfect for use in small places or shared rooms. It's efficient, getting 5 to 8 draws from your packed chamber. It's affordable at just $19.95 each. Buy 3 and the shipping is free. Buy 4 and you get the 5th one free. Visit www.click-hit.com. That's clickandhit.com. And now for listeners of Two Strangers, One Podcast, you can use promo code STRANGERS and receive 10% off your purchase at clickandhit.com. That's promo code STRANGERS for 10% off your purchase.
And we're back. Okay, Paul, let's talk about Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. I've been fucking holding my breath. First, let me just say... Spoilers.
If you don't want to listen to spoilers, skip this section.
If you don't want to listen to spoilers... If you're a fucking fan of this podcast and you haven't seen Star Wars The Force Awakens at least once...
You should go down.
You're not a fucking fan of this podcast. That being said... J.J. Abrams ruined my adulthood.
Oh my god, okay.
Okay, no, that was my very, very first reaction when I first saw the movie. I hated it all. I fucking went out. I had tickets. It was a big night to me. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a date, but I go and I go to the movie theater, and actually, what did you know? Right in front of me, there was a guy that was kind of like by himself also. Mm-hmm. So him and I kind of just like, you know, and mind you, I met him. We're Facebook friends now. Cool fucking dude. We go and we see the movie. You know, like we see the movie, and like actually before the movie, like him.
Did you guys hold hands?
No, we didn't hold hands. He's a good dude. He's a good guy actually. And so
good. You better not fucking cheat on me.
Now what happened was, you know, I was really honestly, I was anticipating this movie. I thought it was going to be a sold out theater. I thought, you know, Thursday night, going to the movies, the night it opens, I thought it was going to be a packed fucking house.
Not the 3D.
It was a 3D showing, and it was the 10:10 show. Now I'm assuming. I mean, that's a 300-seat theater. How many? That one? That was
a smaller one.
No, it was a bigger one. It was a.
I don't know. Some of the bigger ones have just 3D in them, but no.
Well, no, but okay, I would say the theater was maybe a little less than 2/3 full. You know, him and I were able to. Now, you know, of course, like the rest of the fucking world, you know, we like to sit in the middle, like in the middle from the left and right, in the middle up and down. Unfortunately, they were a good sizable. There were a good 50, 60 people ahead of us in line, so we couldn't get those seats. But we still got relatively just under the middle when it comes up and down, and dead center left and right. And quite frankly, no one else was in our row.
Right.
And him and I had a fucking, and this guy knew his shit. You know, it wasn't just one of those like, I like Yoda. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, him and I kind of going back and forth watching the movie, and wouldn't you know it, I go to see it, I see it, and I fucking hated it. I walked out of that theater angry. I said, this movie fucking sucks. The tone is all wrong. You know, this is an action comedy. You know, when I say it's an action movie that has a, you know, good sizable amount of comedy, and you know, the Star Wars that I know and fell in love with fucking is a space opera. This has, you know, it's a fucking rehash of Episode 4. You know, everything. You know, every character that's there is doing the exact same shit that happened in Episode 4. You know, okay, the special effects were fantastic, the writing was funny, you know, this is what I said, but this is not my Star Wars. It's a good movie, but it's not a Star Wars movie. And what blew my mind is the guy that I saw it with loved it. He was, oh my god, it was the greatest movie I've ever seen. And you know, like I was just like, I was kind of still taking it all in. I'm like, okay, once again, spoilers. What the fuck? They never explain who the fuck Snoke is, where the fuck he came from. Okay, now, obviously we find out later that Snoke is obviously a hologram. So, you know, but then again, in all fairness, the first time we see the Emperor in Episode 4, his head is 30 feet high. So at first we're thinking, holy shit, Snoke, the main bad guy in this movie, is a fucking 40-foot monster. No, it's a hologram. Which, you know, once again, with them having Andy Serkis doing this role, I wonder if he's going to be some sort of like little fucking Gollum-like character or something. There has to be a reason why he's just a hologram. We haven't seen him yet, and there's a reason. I'm saying there has to be a reason why they're doing motion capture. So
right.
He better not be average size when they finally show him, because that's going to be fucking bullshit. He better be fucking 3 feet tall like fucking Yoda or something, you know, like an evil Yoda or something. Now, once again, I said spoilers 50 fucking times. Once again, it's not addressed, but all the fans are pretty much saying this is Plagueis. And there are YouTube videos out there that say when you listen to the soundtrack, John Williams, who did all these movie soundtracks, there's a song called Plagueis' Theme, and it says whoa. It sounds like those big bamboo things in fucking Australia, you know, whoa, or the throat singing or whatever. That matches up to in Episode 3 when Palpatine is talking about Darth Plagueis, when he says, you know, there's. Now I believe, and I've made a video about this. So I'm not going to totally repeat myself. But I believe they went through everything in their power not to have anything from the prequels. Original trilogy, yes, but I think they didn't want anything in the prequels. So even though they don't mention Plagueis, that's the one like giant connection between that and the prequels. There was a new. We'll get into that in a second. But there's, you know, the new Republic, And that planet looked like Khorasan, but it wasn't Khorasan.
Yeah, I found out it wasn't Khorasan.
Yeah, it's in the fucking...
apparently that's where the Republic, the Senate and the Republic were stationed now.
Yeah, but for all intents and purposes, it was a new Khorasan. But because I said, if they did have Khorasan, because they never, except for the special edition, they never had Khorasan in the original trilogy, 4, 5, and 6. They never mentioned Khorasan. Khorasan was a name that fucking came out later on in the books. I think the very first extended universe book, Splinter in the Mind's Eye, was like the first one to fucking mention it. And even though people knew about it and stuff like that, the same way Chewbacca's planet was called Kashyyyk. Kashyyyk is never mentioned in any of the first 3 movies, but it's just one of those things that kind of float around the extended universe and then sort of become canon. That being said, this is Plagueis. It has to be. There's no other way to explain it. If it's not Plagueis, I'm going to fucking be pissed off because there's no reason to bring in a whole new bad guy who came out of nowhere.
It would give validation to what Palpatine was saying in the first place.
Yeah, because he says he could cheat death. And he goes, he could cheat death, but he got killed by a student. Well, what the fuck? Can he cheat death or can he not be? He cheated death. You know what I'm saying? Or, it would be cool if they make him Plagueis because Palpatine thought he was dead. He wasn't dead. Maybe he laid somewhere for generations, fucking hiding and rebuilding his strength. Now, here's my theory, and I'm kind of stealing it from one of the extended universe books, but I kind of added a little bit more. Do you remember there's a cave when Luke is training with Yoda? Yoda tells him, when you go into that cave, you only take what's with you, or whatever. There's like a cave that has like fucking ultimate evil inside of it. And Luke goes inside and he has this fucking hallucination where he's fighting Darth Vader, and then he cuts off Darth Vader's head, and then the helmet explodes and he sees his face. He sees Luke's face under the mask. So I think that's where Snoke is. I think Snoke, while he was recuperating, was hiding on Dagobah. That is real nerdy shit. And I think Yoda kind of knew that was an evil place. That's how he was able to hide from the Emperor, because since Yoda's so good, he hid out on a planet that has a concentration of evil, and that's how he was able to stay off of Palpatine's radar. That's just my fucking bullshit extended universe theory, but we'll just leave it at that.
I don't know if I can go along with that part, but yes, I can go along with it that he might be Plagueis.
And his face looks fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a guy who's obviously seen some shit. So, hey, look, when you fucking cheat death, look what happened in the movie when you're watching the original prequels. And once again, they went through big efforts not to mention the prequels, but Palpatine looked one way until he turned all fucking evil. Until he's fucking fighting fucking Mace Windu, and then his face becomes all fucking, he becomes the butt head where his fucking, the ridges over his eyes get all fucked up and look all beat up. Becoming that ultimate evil changes the way you look. So I think probably if we ever do see Snoke pre-Plagueis, he probably looks relatively normal.
Right.
But the guy we see in this fucking scene, half his fucking face is missing. He looks like he got hit so fucking hard in the head, his fucking skull split.
Well, that could also be where Palpatine.
Obviously, Palpatine did fucking some serious damage, just didn't kill him. Because every time we see something, we haven't seen a Sith. Every time a Sith dies, okay, what do we see? When Dooku gets his head cut off.
Oh, by the way, real quick, I love how like the Knights of Ren. Oh, they're not Sith. They're fucking Sith. Shut up.
Yeah, they're
you can call them whatever you want. They're Sith. Period.
Yeah,
End of discussion.
So they're maybe not Sith, but they certainly do a lot of Sith fucking things, and they're people who, like, I don't know. I'm getting a couple of mixed stories. I think it's the Knights of Ren who come in and fucking slaughter Luke's class, and I think Kylo's like the leader of that particular assault.
I think so. Number one, I heard it got kind of spoiled for me, but my original theory all along, and I was actually right about this theory, was that what was it?
Kylo.
So Kylo Ren was Han Solo and Leia's kid. It was that was the thought that I had all along, and it ended up being correct. I'm starting to get good about this sci-fi shit. I'm more or less good about Toonami, but that's neither here nor there. So, when I found out that was the truth, I was like, oh, this is great. And then people were like, oh, it's like the New Hope, and I can see the similarities, but it's not really the New Hope. It's got what's the word I'm looking for? maybe like shimmers is the best way. It shimmers like parallels. It's got parallels of it, but it's not New Hope. Mm-hmm. Now, I think that being that this is spoiler free, I can talk about anything. I think that first of all, Han Solo dying, I didn't really like that idea. After seeing it, I was like, okay, it's okay.
And it was known. I mean, one of those things is that everyone knew that Harrison Ford did not want to come back. Yet he was surprisingly jovial. Like when he was doing the press for this. Harrison Ford's been a miserable prick for the past 20 years. Even the last Indiana Jones movie sucked balls. Yeah. He hated fucking Han Solo. He didn't want to fucking be associated with anymore. And I think J.J. Abrams said, "Look, we can both win here. You can make another couple of $1 million on top of the fucking millions that you already had, and we'll kill off your character." You know what I'm saying? J.J. Abrams said, "Look, we'll give you what you want. Let's kill him off. You do this one movie. You do the press for the movie."
Right.
There are people who said that after his plane crash, when Harrison Ford had the actual plane crash, that he turned into a nicer guy. I think he was always miserable with the character. He didn't want to do it anymore. So this is sort of like, look, let's give the fans what they want, because we're talking about it. We're going. That is, in my opinion, the biggest woe of the movie, of the whole fucking movie.
Right.
Kylo Ren killing fucking Han Solo is the biggest holy shit moment. We'll give the fans what they want. You don't have to do any of these other movies, no more press. That's it. You're done. And you could, because once again, when he was doing the press for this movie, he was energetic and
oh yeah, and he was hilarious,
having a good time.
I see what they did there, and I think that it was something that they had to do for Kylo Ren's character, because honestly, I hate to say this, but it was the worst thing it was the worst thing about the film was Kylo Ren, in my opinion. And I also thought that he just seemed like this little brat throughout the whole fucking movie.
Yeah, he was an emo little bitch.
Exactly, and it didn't seem like he. First of all, if we're talking about a New Hope, he is definitely not a Darth Vader. Not by a long shot. He's definitely not a Darth Vader. Not acting like him, nowhere close to it. That said, Kylo Ren, I think is going to be an interesting character moving along from here. And hopefully the new director will take him into a different direction to where, we can connect with this character. I couldn't connect with him in this one. This one I was just I'm like, why is this guy here again?
Yeah.
Why is he, what is he, I understand he's Han Solo and Leia's kid, but it's just why is he here?
Well, he's the last, I don't want to say he's the last Skywalker.
No,
because technically on his mother's side, he's the last Sky. Well,
he's the last Solo.
He's definitely the last Solo.
I would say. Well, then we got to talk about Ren. I think. See, there's two theories about her out there, and everybody's heard this 50,000 times. But there's the theory that she's a descendant of Obi-Wan Kenobi, or she's his daughter. But I did the math today while I'm sitting there at my job, and I'm like, that doesn't make sense if she was his daughter.
No. Well, something I kind of wanted to touch upon what they said is one theory, and it would be explained. It's really stretching, but it's not exactly out of the realm of possibility. Is that Obi-Wan Kenobi had a daughter, then that daughter had a kid with Luke Skywalker, and that's so technically this kid would be Kenobi Skywalker. Kylo Ren is Solo Skywalker.
Oh, see, I've heard that, but I think I don't know. I don't think that Luke. Because see, here's my theory about Luke, and I've heard that theory that this is somehow his kid. I don't know.
Obi-Wan Kenobi was on that planet. He was on fucking Tatooine for 30 years watching Luke.
Okay.
Not 30. He was on that planet for about 20 years watching Luke. He could have had a girlfriend.
Okay, listen.
Because he wasn't officially a Jedi Knight anymore.
Well, okay.
There were no Jedi Knights anymore.
So, okay, let me talk.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. So, we all know that Luke is probably the most powerful Jedi. Probably even more powerful than... Well, he's more powerful than Kylo Ren. He's probably more powerful... Almost more powerful than Snoke, I would take a guess, because Snoke is very concerned about him. Knowing that, I think Luke would probably steer away from having a child just because he doesn't want to cause the universe to go into flux, like what's going on with Kylo Ren. Because remember, Luke Skywalker is supposed to be that person that changes the Force. Well, the problem now is that he was trying to bring the balance to the Force, and the Knights of Ren came along and just killed all of his people. So now the question is, okay, are we going to see Luke Skywalker throughout this next movie? Are we going to see him? And now the question also is this his daughter? Number one, I don't think it's his daughter. Number two, if it is a Kenobi, if she is Kenobi, then what I think it is to that theory, there was, I can't remember her name, but there was a scene where Obi-Wan was like, if I wasn't a Jedi Knight, I probably would do something with that woman or whatever. It was in the prequels. I don't remember what it was, but there's some woman that he said that he would, whatever. But anyways, getting back to what I was saying.
I'm a big fan of the movies. I don't remember that line at all.
You'll have to look it up. There's something. I don't remember what it was, but... I think it was... Remember in the beginning of episode 2 where he they're coming back from protecting somebody, and it has to do something with the person they were protecting. Like, I guess they had a really good connection, him and that female, and because of that, a lot of people theorized that Obi-Wan was going to try to do something with her someday. Well, the thought process is okay, they hooked up, they had a kid, and then that kid had this kid.
Yeah, that
so
kid.
That's
that
why.
kid.
This is why there's the connection, because that's why she's able to wield this lightsaber. But there again, you're talking about the Skywalker bloodline, so you would think that the only other person that would be able to do it is in Anakin's bloodline, and it would either have to be Luke to have a kid, which I don't think it is. And I think because of how they've done this movie, it's probably what I thought after watching it, and that's Ren is Kylo Ren's sister, but not twin sister.
You mean Rey is...
Rey.
Is Kylo Ren's sister.
Yeah.
But I mean, my thing is just because they never discuss a daughter. You know, they keep talking about their son. They
don't, but think about this for a second. What happens? Remember what happened when they found out, because they thought that oh god, it was Anakin and what is her name? I keep getting
Padme.
Uh-huh. Padme. They thought she was just having one kid. They didn't know that she was having twins. So they split them up, obviously, because of what was going on. My thought process was, okay, well, if, let's say that, this all of a sudden starts happening with their son, they're like, no, we need to get her out of this situation so that way she's not put into this. They could have done that.
I mean, now, okay, let's run with that theory for a second. Because there is, I want to say they've already documented or whatever, I think there's like a 10-year difference between Kylo Ren and Rey.
Right, and by the way, let's keep in mind too, let's keep in mind that Leia may have had this kid and Han never knew. Because
he has been on the road. He has been
right.
He has been out and about where he probably tapped that ass, disappeared, and she had the kid, and he doesn't know that she abandoned the kid. So not abandoned, but she hid the kid. Right. Like that's a room. I mean, okay, so let's just say Kylo Ren finds out he's going to have a younger sister.
Remember, there's going to be novels and stories and everything that are going to be canon that are coming out explaining all this eventually. So explaining some more stuff about the information.
Because he refers to her as the girl everyone's talking about.
Right.
So let me just throw this theory out there. He's about 10 years old, and then he finds out he's going to have a younger sister. Now, yeah, he's going to find out he has a younger sister because, dad fucked mom, but then dad disappeared. And then maybe him finding out that he doesn't have a sister, maybe that kind of started his spiral down.
Yeah, but if you remember from the movie, Han said that Han and Leia pretty much indicated that they split up because of what happened with Kylo.
Oh, with the kid. Okay, yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do with that. I think what happened is she was pregnant, didn't tell him, and then she had Ren, and she hid Ren.
Rey. Rey. R-E-Y.
Okay, whatever.
She had Rey.
Yeah.
Okay, so the kid starts fucking up. Kylo Ren starts fucking up. She has a kid in the midst of all this fucking. Their lives are obviously going through fucking upheaval.
Right.
Han knocks her up. Rey fucking slaughters Luke's kid. Kylo Ren slaughters Luke's
There's a lot of R's in this. Yes.
Luke's class.
Yep.
Han can't fucking deal with it, so he fucking bolts. When he bolts before finding out that his wife is pregnant.
Right.
She doesn't know what the fuck to do.
She never tells
husband's gone, son's gone. all right, let's pop this fucking kid. Let's pop this kid on a fucking desert planet, and we'll leave some because. I think this goes without saying that the Max von Sydow character, the guy in the very beginning, the old guy who gets killed, he is the Obi-Wan Kenobi of this universe. He is the person that's on the... He was there to watch Rey. Okay, yeah, he has the piece of the map and also the bullshit. I think we're going to find out that Rey, he was kind of watching over Rey the same way Obi-Wan Kenobi was watching over Luke. From a distance, maybe sort of checking in every now and then, pretending to be an uncle or pretending to be some sort of weird, funky neighbor or whatever. But one thing no one seems to fucking mention or notice, when the movie begins and we see Rey and she's in her house, she has a little rag doll that looks like an X-Wing fighter. I mean, she does have the helmet, and everyone has seen the helmet, but no one seems to. So I think maybe her Force sensitivity kind of like connected her. I mean, that's what in my theory it's her dad. But, you know, or she maybe just the fact that just she knows that there's a connection between her and the fucking resistance fighters or the rebel fighters, or whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Well, so, and you know, the other thing about this, too, and I don't know if this is true, I've heard rumors of this, that there are scenes that they cut on the cutting room floor that actually would have made this a lot more of a film that didn't seem like...
would have answered your question.
A New Hope. Yeah, well, like okay. I guess the first scene, the Luke's lightsaber is like flying through space or something.
Yeah, you see the hand holding a lightsaber and getting flushed into outer space or something like that.
And then one of the first scenes, which I guess was cut, and I get the feeling, that at some point before the DVD and Blu-rays release, they're going to put an uncut version of Star Wars out and make even more money, which people will flood the theaters for.
Yeah, maybe 30 years from now they'll be.
And I think that there's supposed to be a scene where Leia is talking to a courier, so to speak, that is supposed to go to the Republic and talk to them about
what's going on, and this is what I heard, and she says, if I go to the Senate, they're gonna fucking kill me. Like, I'll never make it out of that system alive. That's why she's hiding with the quote-unquote resistance, which is a stupid name because they're sanctioned by the fucking they're sanctioned by the Republic. So what the fuck are they resisting?
But they are sanctioned.
That's not a resistance. That's an army. That's a militia.
By the way, I love how the New Republic has an army and a military operation, and pretty much that Star Killer base destroys
them all, yeah.
And you never got to see them before it happened. So that's going to be interesting, too, to see.
And that's, okay, one little problem also is that they have this fucking New Order.
Now the whole New Order's gone.
Now, but, I mean, my thing is that they go and they go, okay, this is, to use a word that I don't want to use, the remnants. This is the last bits of the Empire. But how the fuck have they been okay, here we go. They, you have when the Empire was the Empire, they were the Empire, they controlled the fucking galaxy. So if they needed resources, they took them from one of the planets they fucking controlled. You know what I'm saying? It's easy. Right. Where the fuck was this New Order getting money from? How is this organization funded? I know that's a stupid question.
Well, I think that's probably going to be answered in this next episode.
That would be kind of badass. Like, they show like parts of the Empire like selling each other out and shit like that.
I think that's probably what happened. Yeah. But I know we're not looking at. But I understand that everything that's been said about Star Wars is no longer canon. But I personally think the Empire should have been called the Remnant, like it was always called after Episode 6. I think that okay, fine, we need to have a little bit more explanation about this New Order, because here's the thing: what was the name of that planet? Jakku. And this planet is like just. Like laid out in like Star Destroyer parts, like, and you just sit there and you think to yourself, okay, so there's not a lot of Star Destroyers left. By the way, there's no clone army anymore. So I understand that they took these people from birth and then raised them to do this kind of stuff. Who did that? So now we have all these questions. I'm kind of hoping that Episode 8 is more of an informative movie, less of a action movie, because I want Episode 8 to explain to me why there's a First Order.
Well, okay. Now this is okay.
And fuck the novels, because I don't want to know them.
Yeah. Okay. You have in the first trilogy, they kind of have to make an army.
Right.
So Palpatine makes whatever moves behind the scenes to fucking create this clone army. So That gets the ball rolling. Here we got the big giant army, and they got all these operations. As we evolve into the new trilogy, because even in the very first scenes in A New Hope, stormtroopers are volunteers. Because even fucking Luke Skywalker goes, I have an application in at the academy and whatever. So now they're controlling the whole universe. So it's sort of like, hey, you guys better fucking, we will crush this fucking planet. So if you're pretty smart, you might as well join us. You know what I'm saying? You might as well be part of the winning team because we're gonna fucking crush this. Everything we control everything in this universe because we're the fucking Empire, and there's really nothing you can do about it. So you might as well volunteer in our organization. And then, as obviously they got overthrown, and now that's not a good thing. Now they've gotten to the point where they're just kidnapping motherfuckers. They're just they're so desperate because obviously they're not having volunteers anymore. They're so desperate that they're fucking taking kids from a young ass fucking age and brainwashing them into being stormtroopers. So I mean, to me, that was the evolution. It's kind of, first it was clones, fucking drones. People had no fucking clue. Then there were people that were sort of like intimidated, or just one of those deals where like, look, you could live on this shitty fucking sand planet, or you could at least join the fucking Empire and see shit. You know what I'm saying? Or be stuck on this fucking bullshit planet. Kind of like people live in little shitty towns and join the army because there's really nothing else to do, then it's gotten to the point where like they're fucking kidnapping children. I mean, my thing is that like when you see Hux, General Hux, he's a young guy, Kylo Ren, a young guy. They feel like fucking kids. They should have. Now, don't get me wrong. I think the actor himself is fucking fantastic, but they should have put an older character as General Hux, because it makes sense. There's an older guy. How could this guy who's just a couple of years older than fucking Finn? My troops are the best. We don't need clones because my troops are the best. Motherfucker, you were 5 when Finn was born. How are these your troops?
I honestly think what's going to end up happening here, and we have to consider that the First Order is pretty much, with the exception of maybe a couple Star Destroyers, it's probably we don't know where Snoke is.
Snoke and
right, but I kind of feel like
they took a giant.
They took a giant hit
that day. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, and kind of the Resistance, which should just be the Rebel Alliance, anyways, took probably a big hit. Took kind of a hit there themselves. I'm hoping that what's going to end up happening is a lot of these systems are going to try to align behind the First Order because they're going to be scared. Mm-hmm. But I'm hoping that we'll see a lot more. When Luke comes into the situation, we're going to see a lot more Jedi show up because. I honestly think that I was talking to somebody about this. I don't think this next episode coming up, and this is not until 2017. I don't think killing Luke would be a good idea right this moment.
No.
I don't think that would be wise for them to do. I think that episode 8 should be informative. It should be Luke training Rey, and just giving us information about how the heck the First Order came about, and also just how this is gonna go, because I honestly I'm kind of confused now, because Luke obviously didn't want R2-D2 to activate until a certain point. It's come to that certain point. He activated because it was that time to activate, and now all of a sudden we have Luke Skywalker back. Is he gonna refuse to come back? Is he actually gonna come back? I think he's gonna come back with her. Yeah. It makes sense.
And then he does, and obviously he doesn't want to kill his nephew, because obviously that's Kylo Ren is his nephew. He doesn't want to kill his nephew, but he also can't let this fucking evil stand,
Right, he has to bring balance to the Force, and just like that guy said at the beginning of the movie, we have to find Luke Skywalker. The Jedi have to be brought back to bring balance to the Force. I think that's what The Force Awakens is finding Luke Skywalker, and now we can bring the Jedi back into the thing. Because I kind of think that this may end up turning into like the video game Old Republic, where all of a sudden now we're seeing like all these Jedi fight all these Sith, and then we have a major war, and at the end of it, boom, now we have peace finally. Yeah. I think that's where we're headed. I don't know exactly how that's going to happen, but we'll find out. I mean,
here's my prediction. Snoke kills Luke, then, or it's gonna. I think it's gonna going to echo Return of the Jedi, where Snoke is going to kill Luke. Rey's going to inherit the Jedi Temple and whatever, and continue training. And her, I keep saying her father, but okay. So here's my prediction: Snoke kills Luke, then Kylo kills Snoke. But in doing so, just like Darth Vader, Kylo gets killed. Right. So you got the good and you got the bad. You got Rey's there, you got bad, and then Kylo Ren does. He sacrifices himself because he's kind of like the way once again, and this is totally stealing from his grandfather Darth Vader. He knows that, like, because when he sees Han Solo and he goes, I need you to help me with something, and then Han Solo goes, I'll help you with anything, and he kills Han Solo. And I think he needed to kill Han Solo to seal his dark side. You know what I'm saying? Up to this point, he's been a whiny bitch. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And he doesn't even kill people. This whole fucking movie. Okay, yeah, he killed Max von Sydow. When he gets pissed off, he doesn't kill fucking the military guys. He fucking takes his lightsaber out and hits the fucking computer. He needs to seal his dark side. Well, what's fucking one of the worst things? You kill your own fucking parent. So I think in a weird way, he doesn't want to go to the dark side. He says, I'm getting pulled towards the light side. So he needed to kill his father, to seal his deal, to seal the deal with the devil, to let there be blood or whatever, to bring him to the dark side. And he does, and I think, honestly, I don't think he wants to go to the dark side. But I think him and Rey, they are now the balance. They are, once again, in my theory, Rey is the daughter of Luke Skywalker. They are the end of the Skywalker bloodline, because Leia didn't have any other kids. This is with Rey being Leia didn't have any other kids. Luke is going to be killed by Snoke, and then you got Kylo Ren and Rey fighting Snoke. But then Kylo does like his grandfather, uses himself to fucking do some sort of fucking kamikaze attack onto Snoke, killing them both. And then leaving Rey with the Jedi, saying, okay, look, now it's my turn to train the next generation of, for the new Republic. Right. That's just my theory. Okay, so I don't know, is there anything else you want to talk about? Or?
No, I think we're good.
Okay, so once again, I'm going to cut to my reaction to videos that we had watched trailers for the movies BFG. And that does not mean big fucking gun.
Yes, it does, damn it.
This movie called Whiskey Tango Foxtrot and the Deadpool trailer. So here we go. Okay, so here we go, recording the trailers. And as for all our listeners know, with me not having Wi-Fi in my house, I purposely do not watch certain things on the internet when I'm at the public library, and I purposely wait so I can watch them here in Paul's house.
So he can hold me and cuddle and,
And so...
You're a big man.
Now, I know, like, last year, I mean, we were, like, every week was, like, a newer trailer. Now, don't get me wrong, there were a bunch of trailers to choose from this week, but... there were more like trailers, more geared towards the stuff that we watch. So this week we're kind of really, really stretching it. And so right now the first one we're going to do is a movie called BFG. Now, I don't think I've seen the trailer for this. I know it's based on a book. It's based on something, and it's being filmed by Steven Spielberg. But my thing is that BFG, to me, and people of my generation, was Big Fucking Gun from Doom. So I wonder if Steven Spielberg has any assistants or someone that talks to him that's under the age of like 40.
Duke Nukem too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Doom, but I mean, it's just.
I think there was something like that in Duke Nukem. And which, by the way, I don't know why they never fucking kept doing those games.
Well, awesome. They did one called Duke Nukem Forever, which was like for the PlayStation 3 or 2 or whatever, and it was garbage. It was still like a generation behind. And I mean, nowadays you can make such a beautiful, beautiful game, but
they should make a beautiful, beautiful game.
So here we go with a fantasy movie BFG teaser trailer by Steven Spielberg. Here we go off of the Movie Clip Trailers YouTube page. Okay, so it's very British, double-decker bus driving towards Big Ben. And okay, this looks very Harry Potterish, or at least
Harry Potter.
The Muggle world of Harry Potter. Now I saw the commercial for Fantastic Creatures and Where to Find Them, which is like the. When the boogeyman comes out. Oh no! Okay, actually, I did see this trailer, so I'm kind of cheating. I actually did see this trailer when I went to go see Star Wars, which we'll get to later on in the actual podcast.
Fucking cheating.
Okay, yeah, no, I mean, I'm cheating. I did see this trailer, so it's a little girl. And she says, "Don't go looking at something at midnight." That shows the impression that this trailer made on me. That I actually seen it in the theaters, and until now that I'm actually looking at the trailer, I didn't. So she's.
So it meant shit to you.
It meant absolutely. I mean, You know what this reminds me of? Oh, Disney. Oh shit! It's Disney and Steven Spielberg. That's a powerhouse. But this looks like the Polar Express. For some reason, this reminds me of the Polar Express movie with it was directed by what's his face, the guy who did Back to the Future. So there's a big 40-foot fucking dude that no one seems to see in the middle of the street. And he's reaching for her, and I'm pretty sure we'll find out he's a good guy. Yeah, a big fucking 40-foot. You know what that is? That's Snoke. That's spoiler alert from Star Wars Episode 7. BFG, the big fucking gun. Okay. I mean, okay, the special effects were good, but I'm not impressed. And once again, I'm really stretching this week. So the second one that I want...
That one was definitely really stretching.
Yeah. Now there's a movie, it's called Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, which for those who speak military speak, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot is WTF, or in what the fuck. Apparently this is a military comedy with Tina Fey and Billy Bob Thornton. This is the first time I've even heard of it. Once again, off the Movie Clips Trailers website. Here we go. Okay. The following has been approved for appropriate audiences by the Motion Picture Association of America.
Chris, which one?
Okay. This looks like the beginning of Iron Man. Okay, so
We're still 5 miles from me. The asset must be
No,
dumping.
No, I'm just getting my pants on.
Oh, so it's Tina Fey as some sort of
reporters on the ground in Afghanistan, and you folks are all the unmarried, childless
military correspondent or something.
Again, why are you going to be joining in?
The travel or the crime?
Once again, let's stop.
How many people do you need?
Faking that Tina Fey is hot. Oh, based on a true story.
She says, welcome to Afghanistan.
Oh, that's right, yeah, because they got to wear, like, head wraps from... Women have to wear head wraps when they go into a... Oh, did you hear about that fucking fire in Dubai on top of that big giant hotel?
Did they ever see what that was?
No, and then magically they don't seem not to be bringing it up. Oh, that's Margot Robbie. That has to be Margot Robbie from Harley Quinn from Suicide Squad. But yeah, there was apparently a big giant fire that no one seems... Now don't be wrong, the guys from Dubai are the quote-unquote good ones. And I think some of the bad ones must have gotten to it. Because I find it... Oh, that's what's his face? Alfred Molina. That's Dr. Octopus. Showing Tina Fey how to shoot a gun.
So what's your reason? I just wanted out of my job. I wanted out of my mildly depressive boyfriend.
What are we doing, Kim?
I just wanted to blow everything up. That's the most American white lady story I've ever heard.
Don't put Margot Robbie next to fucking Tina Fey. That's... It's like putting a Ferrari next to a Honda. Like, don't do that.
Wow.
I mean, a good Honda, but still.
Alone, not effect. Not necessarily reflect the comments.
I mean, I chose this movie. I mean, but I don't think she's hot. Now, Margot Robbie.
Yes, we know. You would bang her right now.
Yes, I'd push an old lady into traffic to bang Margot Robbie. And did you ever see Wolf of Wall Street? She's naked in Wolf of Wall Street. Like, you see everything. And so.
Kabul's first licensed female driver, Gulbahar Youssefi, hits the road.
Literally.
That sucks for women.
Yeah, because in Muslim countries, women. No, I think in certain Muslim countries, women are allowed to drive, but you have to have a male passenger in the car.
Yes.
You have to have a quote unquote a companion. Okay, so that was Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. First time I heard of it, I don't think I'm ever going to look for it again. So there we go. Now we're going to finally the one that since we've been taking breaks in between actually recording. And so this was new when we first, right when the last episode came out. We're finally watching it now. Something a little more up our alley. The Deadpool Red Band trailer. And I know you really like this because I know you commented it on Facebook, but I haven't seen it yet. So here, Kitty keeps moving to my. Here we go.
Oh, it's Red Band.
Red Band. Oh, it's really dirty. I think there was a clean and a dirty version of this trailer.
And that's the kitty.
And the kitties. So, okay.
Cool, Dad.
Why the fancy nerd suit, Mr.
Okay,
Cool?
so-
Well, that's because it's Christmas Day, Dopinder, and I'm after someone on my naughty
Oh,
list.
bad. Okay, overdubbing Christmas. Like, so they took scenes from the movie and then.
You're probably thinking this was
So apparently,
that guy in the suit just turned that other
this
guy into a
scene
fucking
is very important in the movie because they keep showing it.
To tell it right,
I think this. I'm going to predict this right now. I don't think it's going to do Star Wars business, but I think it's going to do better than some of the Avengers did.
Yeah. Well,
I think, even though it's rated R, I think it's going to do really, really well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we need more R-rated comic book flicks. You know.
More shake weighting. If I never see you again, know that I love you.
What I know that guy from.
When I'm finished, your mutated cells will heal anything.
Alright, so there's a chick with spikes coming out of her back.
We're making you a super slave.
And apparently, I mean, they could use this to tie into the other Fox movies. Like, they have to somehow tie this into the X-Men movies without being, you know, Wolverine origins or whatever.
Well, it'll have to be the rated R version.
Like the inside of other people's assholes.
The rated R version will have to be dumbed down if you
find out your worst
enemy is
after your best girl.
Or at least like give him a cameo in the next X-Men movie or something. But no, the X-Men movies are like in the 80s now, so probably not.
Right up Main Street.
Okay. You keep seeing scenes in the fucking pilot. Was that what's her face? Uhura?
I don't have time for your X-Men bullshit, Colossus.
Oh, that's right. Oh, they do a tie. Duh, I'm an idiot. They did tie it into fucking X-Men.
That guy was out there before we got here.
And at least they were smart enough to use a character that we all know but was never really used. Because he was only in the movies for like 2 seconds.
Have you seen this man? I never say this.
Ow, that's gotta hurt.
Shit. Did I leave the stove on?
It's so good we actually stopped talking.
Too much dude for me. That's why I brought him.
Oh shit.
I mean, that's why I brought her? Oh no, finish your tweet. That's fine. Just give us a second. Get her, Tiger.
So this is why they need to see whoever this chick is. This is why they need Ronda Rousey to play fucking Captain Marvel. Yeah. All right. So thank you for watching those trailers with us, and we'll get back to the show. And we're back. Okay, so let's wrap this thing up.
That's what she said.
That's what she said. Okay, you can find everything you need to find show related on twostrangersonepodcast.net. That's twostrangersonepodcast.net. You can find links that go to our iTunes where you can go back and listen to a good sizable amount of the past 3 years. Not every episode, but you can check out and subscribe to us when new episodes come out for your iPhone, iPad, or iPod. You can. Does anyone really have an iPod anymore? But you can download episodes onto your iTunes if you listen to them on your computer. If you don't have an iPhone, an iPad, or iPod, you could also use the Stitcher app for Google. That's STITCHER. It's the app that I use when I'm in a Wi-Fi spot, because once again, I've said a million times, I don't have Wi-Fi in my house, so when I'm in a Wi-Fi spot, I take all my favorite podcasts that I like listening to, I hit the listen later option, I make sure that it's available offline, and I know that's confusing, but once you get your hands in front of the app, you'll see what I'm talking about. It downloads the episode, so then while you're out and about, without killing your data, without killing your battery, you can listen to the podcast. I can easily go about 6-7 hours with my battery doesn't even fucking drain that much listening to podcasts, especially if you're using headphones. Off my phone, like when I was working overnights in my other job, I could listen to podcasts for hours it doesn't even put a dent in my battery life. And once again, every podcast worth listening to is on Stitcher. You got Kevin Smith's Smodcast, you got Chris Hardwick's The Nerdist, and of course Paul's other baby, the Toonami Faithful podcast. All are available on Stitcher. You can subscribe to us there. If you want to write us, we haven't had any people write to the show recently. Unfortunately, our biggest fan fucking died in an earthquake. But I hope he didn't. His birthday, Facebook reminded me it was his birthday the other day, and I sent him a message like, I hope you're okay, I hope you're alive. But you can write to us at twostrangersonepodcast@gmail.com. Once again, all spelled out, twostrangersonepodcast@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter at Stranger Podcast. That's the little at symbol, Stranger Podcast. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/twostrangersonepodcast. It takes 2 seconds to like this episode. We've been getting not a lot, but when people like our posts, it gets shown. Like when someone likes our posts or whatever, it goes up on their page. And right now, this past week alone, our post has reached 159,000 people. That's fucking fantastic. Now, of course, that just means, it said on somebody's timeline, oh, so-and-so liked this episode or whatever. But if you can keep it up, guys, it's so fucking awesome. And I really appreciate because we have been getting new likes and new shares on the page. Let me see if I can find anybody. Kialo Matu, Carlos Cortez, Jonathan Trauner, Seren Regalado, Jenikia Ruiz, Bascom Frank Newsom, Raven Bangalesian, Shane Cooper. Well, Shane, I know he's from California. He's from the old Living Lane podcast that unfortunately doesn't record anymore. Once again, lots of new people have been liking us on our Facebook page. So it takes 2 seconds to like the page or like this episode. Of course, we want your money. We need your money. But if you can't give us any money, it takes 2 seconds to like this episode. Just put us on your timeline because it gets the word out there. And I love it when I look at the page and I see fucking reached 150,000 people. That's fucking fantastic. And of course, my thing right now is if you can go and check out our YouTube page. Now, we don't have an official name yet because we need more people to subscribe so I could actually get youtube.com/2strangersonepodcast. But we need you guys to subscribe. You can find old episodes on, and even if you don't have a YouTube, but even if you don't go on YouTube, just go, if you have an Android account, like if you have a Gmail account, that means you have a YouTube account. It takes 2 seconds to just subscribe. And what I do is I'm taking older episodes, I'm putting them up on YouTube. And then also I've been making my Stranger vlogs. I'm up to like episode 29 now. I did my best trying not to repeat myself. And I did a video called The Force Awakens Doesn't Suck the Second Time Around, where I talk about how I loved the movie the first time and I hated the movie the first time and loved it the second time. I should have another one out in a couple days that I recorded like a month ago talking about bars and how bars suck, how bars are stupid. So that's about it. We certainly hope you guys. I'm sorry. And I want to give a quick shout out to another podcast called Cinema Psyops. That's Cinema CINEMA. Psyops, PSYOPS. It's basically a podcast where they watch a lot of like really fucked up movies, like not necessarily horror movies because they do watch like crime dramas or whatever. The movies that just show a lot of weird, really fucked up, traumatic shit. Now, once again, I'm not a fan of those movies. I think it's kind of, why would you purposely watch something that's going to like fuck you up in the head? Or, I don't like drama for drama's sake. Right. But I actually like how the guys, like, I like their banter. I think, Court and Matt. So if you like this podcast, you may want to check out Cinema Psyops. That's CNIEMA PSYOPS, like Psyops, like the military operations, stuff like that. And they do a little creative things. They do little bits, and the joke of the show is like the host is sort of like a mad scientist, and he's performing experiments on the co-host, even though the co-host doesn't really know what's going on. And not that it's ripping off Mystery Science Theater 3000. It's sort of like that, but a lot more evil. But check them out. And I acquiesce the floor to you, sir.
Apparently Chris is tired. So you can find me on Twitter at PaulPascrello. You can find me on Instagram, instagram.com/PaulPascrello. And of course you can ask me questions, ask.fm/PaulPascrello. And of course you can hear me on another podcast called Toonami Faithful Podcast. If you want to listen to that, soundcloud.com/Toonami Faithful Podcast. Please listen to us because we'll like what you hear.
On SoundCloud. And a shout out to all the guys on the Toonami Faithful podcast. Well, we certainly hope you guys enjoyed listening and had as much fun as we did recording. Thank you for listening to Strangers One Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
Don't be a stranger.
Peace. We're out.
Bye. You should be fapping.
All the time. All night long. All night.
Kylo kills Solo. JJ, you ruined my adulthood.
All right, here we go, man. Go ahead. You want to read
Double Jackpot.
What is it?
It is a self-published book by Christopher Cologne.
Chris Cologne? Smells good to me.
But
look at her. That broke that fucking cold little exterior. He's like, hee.
But it is spelled COLON.
Him punny.
But Double Jackpot is a book about a comic book artist, Eric, who is in a loveless relationship with a materialistic
I feel you, Eric.
Lynette.
Oh, fucking. Are you sure I didn't write this? Sounds hauntingly familiar.
He starts cheating on his girlfriend with a more creatively supportive woman, Nadia.
Well, I gotta meet her. Where's the Nadia?
There's your summer girlfriend.
Summer Nadia is Nadia.
Nadia?
Yeah, I think Nadia spelled with an A.
All right.
Both Lynette and Nadia play the double jackpot, the largest payout in lotto history, much like the recent Powerball. Both girls play his birth date as the winning numbers. Eric is now stuck between two of the country's richest women. Who will he choose? It's not that simple. This is a clever fucking idea, man. Look at her. Fucking, she's impressed.
I am.
She got some summer reading. Christopher Cologne smells real lovely with an original idea. This is. I've never heard this before.
I haven't either. This is a self-published book, much in the indie spirit as Kev's Clerks.
Oh, you don't even need to name check me. It's just a good idea. You could stand on your own, man. You don't even have to be like, hey, remember Clerks? This is nothing like that. This is way more original than Clerks. This is a good idea, man. Why didn't I think of this?
I need something to read. This book is part of the Comic Books, Heavy Metal, Video Games Trilogy Book 2. Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, coming soon.
Right on, man. It's part of a trilogy. This is the first part.
Way to write, man.
He's seeking a literary agent. Motherfuckers, anybody out there? There ain't no literary agents listening to this show, I assure you, sure. Sure. I assure you, sure. But somebody know a literary agent? Hook a motherfucker up! Chris Cologne come up with an original idea. I should tell Raskin. That's a good fucking idea, to be honest with you. That's a fucking rom-com right there. Megan, get Raskin on the phone. Isn't it possible to get Raskin on the phone? No?
Yeah.
I want to run it past him, man. I want to, and if it happens, I get a taste, Chris Cologne. I get a whiff, if you will.
The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com.
That's lulu.com.
I understand that. I just want to spell it out.
Normally one says it, that spells it. Still, lulu.com. What is that? Do you know what it is?
I don't know. All right. The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com. Search for Double Jackpot Christopher Cologne. A paperback version of the book is $15 and a PDF file is only $5.
$5 is
Yeah.
insanely inexpensive. 15's not even that bad for a paperback version.
No.
This is $1 million idea right here. Like a movie about a dude who fucking is stuck between two chicks, both of who play his birthday and win the lottery. Come on! I can see that trailer. Chris Cologne is on to something. Nobody else can smell it but me.
I'll read it.
Thank you. I'm going to make that smelly joke.
I know. You're trying to get me to laugh again.
It worked once. Double Jackpot is a self-published book by Chris Cologne, man. It's the first book in his Comic Books, Heavy Metal, Video Games trilogy. Book 2, Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, should be coming out soon. Get all the information at Chris Cologne, like a motherfucker.
I will
his
totally
book,
read this.
Double Jackpot. I'm serious. I'm going to recommend that to fucking Raskin. How is that not a movie? You know what I'm saying? This could be a sexy movie. You could do an R-rated version. There could be nudie in it, and you could show them fucking both chicks. Maybe a little penetration. Maybe a butthole shot. No butthole, no care.
I would like to formally apologize to Christopher Cologne.
No, sex sells. Chris Cologne will appreciate that. He's like, thanks for throwing a few buttholes in there, man.
Don't forget to check out twostrangersonepodcast.net, your one-stop resource for everything show-related. You can find links to subscribe to us on iTunes or on Stitcher. You could also find links to buy my book, Double Jackpot, on twostrangersonepodcast.net.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. And fuck you, I'm out.